I'm here for Mental Health Chats, and I'm so excited because we are talking about goal setting and strategic thinking for the year ahead. And I've got lovely Jon Brooks with us. Hello, Jon. How are you?
Hi, Claire. Very good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So, first of all, there's probably a lot of people out there thinking, who is this fellow, Jon Brooks? So, who is Jon Brooks?
So yeah, I'm Jon Brooks. I live in London. I'm a dad. I'm a business owner, and I think being a dad kind of keeps me busy enough.
Yeah, definitely. So, out of interest, you've said you're a business owner. So, what do you actually do, Jon?
So I run my own business helping recruitment agencies with their pricing strategies.
Wow. So, pricing strategies, that's really interesting. We're talking about strategic thinking and goal setting. So, we obviously need to set goals for our pricing strategies and think strategically for them. So, let's think about managers and think about why is it essential for managers to set goals and think strategically, especially for the year ahead?
Yeah, I think if you're leading a team, it's so important that you're giving them direction.
Yeah.
So you've got to have a bigger picture. And actually, maybe I know some managers are more transparent than others. You may share your whole strategy, or you may think strategically and then use that to give your team some direction without maybe telling them every single bit of the strategy. But either way, you need to know which way you're going and give a real kind of clarity to what you're aiming for.
Excellent. I love the fact that you've used the word sharing where you're going and giving clarity, because I think often what can happen, and I've seen this with some of the managers that I work with, that they've got the vision, they think strategically, and they're not communicating it with their teams, especially when setting goals as well. So let's think about, I'm going to push you a bit further, Jon, and get you to think about why is it important for them to actually communicate what they're thinking to their teams?
Yeah, I think there's a danger. If we all know that these days, whoever you are, you want to have meaning in your job. You can't just be told, oh, do this, now do this, now do this, now do this. That's no recipe for a long-term, healthy, happy workplace. So yeah, as a manager, communicating, I guess, the why, the reason, the direction to your team, yeah, they're more than likely to be able to do the day-to-day themselves. It's about understanding where they're going. That's so important.
Yeah, it's a little bit like a roadmap, isn't it, really? If we don't know where we're going, we won't be able to get there.
Just drive around, yeah.
Yeah, we just drive around aimlessly. So that's brilliant. And so what I'd like you to really help the listeners and the viewers with today is really thinking about what sort of tips would you give them to help them as managers to set goals, especially set the goals with their teams. What tips do you suggest?
I have a really useful approach that I take that has worked so well for me. So I'll share that if that's okay.
Oh, thank you.
So there's a book called The 12-Week Year.
Yeah, I love it.
So what it does is, rather than saying, right, let's say you're at the start of the year and you're planning for the end of the year, you put the goals in place, you have an initial boost, but then it kind of all fades off. You think, oh, I've got ages to hit those goals. And then you come to September, you're like, whoa, I'm nowhere near those goals. So you kind of give up on them. And then you have a kind of end of the year push, kind of October, November, December's a write-off. That's not an inspiring way to set and achieve those goals. So the idea is just trick your brain into thinking, right, my next year is only 12 weeks long. So you've got a quarter of the year. You have a limited time, so you can set a limited number of goals. So that's really important, because then you've got to say, well, what's important? What's the priority here? So for me, I always have 3 goals in my 12 weeks. And unlike in a year that just goes on forever, I'm 4 weeks in before you know it, and then you're like, okay, focus, have another push, and then you're there, and you've either achieved those goals or you haven't, and you review that, and either you say, right, those goals are important enough to try again if you haven't achieved them, or actually I need to replace them with another goal. So for me, it's about, reducing the time span you put on those goals has worked so well for me.
That's a really good one. So that's one major tip. Instead of having these massive long-term goals, let's reduce the time span because we're more likely to achieve them then. Definitely. Any other tips?
That was my big one. That was
That's your big
that was
one.
all I had. I think I said clarity earlier, like clarity and simplicity.
Yeah.
Talk about kind of simplifying the time, but simplify what you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's hard. I've been there as a manager thinking, do I know that answer? But that's your job. You need to work on that.
Yeah.
To then say to your team, okay, this is what we're doing. And then every day you can just say, one word, and they're reminded of the direction. So that's really powerful.
I love that. So we've got 3 big tips there. The first one is shorten your goals, so you don't have 2 bigger ones. And I've always sort of encouraged my teams to have milestones as well. So if you do have a big goal, chunk the milestones down.
Yeah.
Clarity. So that goes with communication, making sure we're communicating. And something that, everybody's been talking about for years since I first started training and coaching, and that was the SMART goals.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've always done as a manager is the A, to add in an A. So make sure it's agreed with the team member.
Yeah.
So communicating it and agreed, and simplicity. I think that's great because sometimes, especially if we're following the SMART framework, we make the goals too big and it's like, we too wordy. And if we just keep them to the point. So they're 3 fabulous tips. Thank you ever so much. That's brilliant. Thank you, Jon. Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I think, good luck. I would say it's never easy. It's very easy for us to chat and say, hey, be really clear on what you're doing. That's the hard bit. But it pays off. It's worth doing.
Yeah, definitely is. If we have that direction, definitely. So, Jon, you're being fantastic today. So thank you very much. Where can people actually find you if they'd like to reach out?
Yeah, I spend a lot of my time on LinkedIn, which is where the recruitment industry lives. So Jon Brooks on LinkedIn. And I also have a newsletter on recruitment pricing. So if that is of interest, that's pricing.substack.com.
Thank you. And it's Brooks without an E. Remember that?
No H on the Jon, no E on the Brooks. So
you're no frills like me. I'm no I in Clare, no E in Davis. No frills.
Exactly, no frills. Yeah.
And, I think, just to sum up, pricing strategy and setting goals for pricing is key. And that's where a lot of business owners, a lot of recruiters don't actually make their strategy and set their goals for pricing. So get in touch with Jon if you've got anything that you want to qualify or any advice on pricing strategy with setting goals and making a strategy. So thank you very much, Jon.
Thank you, Claire. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Take care, everyone.